I don't think I like that, but yeah. Um, hey, y'all! Welcome back to another episode of Let's Be Real, 100%. We were here to talk about life, life, and all this what it's about. Um, I wanted to come on here and just chat a little bit, um, about what's been happening. As y'all can see, the subtitle, the title is God in Your Health. Going through all this changes as of the last 15 years, maybe 16-ish, around that area. It's been a interesting journey, right? And your journey might not be my journey. My journey is surviving of HIV. I know there is, not probably, I know there's a bunch of women and men out there who have been surviving more than me. But I wanted to come on and link up with them to share the story. Again, I can't say if they're sharing the story or not. Some of them probably are, some of them not. But I'm here. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyways, so with this journey, like I said, your journey may be with diabetes or maybe cancer or something like that. I really can't speak on those things because I don't have any of those. But we can probably relate as far as God placing God in that journey with us. So, with that being said, in this last 15 years of this journey, it's been real interesting. Um, so I thought I was sharing something. Trying to do this video before I leave the house. Um, it's it's been a real interesting journey. Again, I've been on the multiple medications. I've been with multiple doctors. I've had multiple side effects, multiple. Um, I'm not gonna say procedures, but you know, situations where they have to like take cells and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been an interesting 15 years. But when I tell you, when I first got the diagnosis, again, I knew I was gonna die, right? I knew that I'm like, okay, I really didn't hear a whole lot about HIV in my past and growing up. I mean, I may have heard it by passing or something, and when I went to medical assistant school, I guess I don't know, but it wasn't really like a hot topic in my life at that point. All you heard was STDs and stuff like that, and you can get it from sex and drugs and all that. Again, who thinks of these things? Well, I don't. I did not at the time. I didn't think of it. Yeah, I was running off of hurt, rebellion, rejection. I had a lot of gas, bad gas, that I was running off of, and yeah, and it led me to that last stop of being diagnosed, right? So, anyways, if you don't know the story, I was living with a teacher of mine, and I began to, I would take showers or whatever, and I started to see um, some changes going on in my body, and or upon my body. And I was wondering, I was like, So my teacher was like, well, why don't you do this and why don't you do that? And I was like, okay, let me try these things. Didn't help. Then I started getting sick. I started to get a really bad cough. I really didn't have a doctors at that time. So I think at the time I was child. I don't know how old I was. Anyways, I just had my oldest one, my oldest son. Um, and no, actually, I didn't. I had my second son too, but I know before I had my second son, I know that's when I conceived it. I know that part. I know how to pinpoint it back. But anyways, that's the story. But I did have my second son. Um, and again, I didn't have a PCP. I didn't have a doctor. I didn't have none of that. because I think it was, of course, over the age of being on insurance. No, actually, I lied. I wasn't on any insurance until then. Anyways, that's not the point. I didn't have a doctor or nothing like that. So someone told me, she was like, you need to go to a doctor and all that. So I ended up calling my mom. I was like, Mom, you know, I need to go to the doctor because I can't get rid of these warts. And so we went, the nurses usually ask you, do you want to test for any STDs or any other diseases, and it was nothing to me. Child just threw my arm out there and was like, all right, yeah, cool. I mean, I guess. So then, they did the biopsy and all those things. And about a week, not even a week later, I don't even think it was 3 days, I get a phone call from the doctor, and she was like, well, not her, but the medical assistants was like, well, you may need to come in for just another checkup so we can get your results and stuff. And in my mind, I'm like, doctors don't call you back like that, unless it's just something urgent. And I called my mom and I was like, this don't sound right. She was like, okay, just go to the appointment. Let's go to the appointment and call it, see what's going on. Doctor comes in and she looks at me and she was like, oh, how are you doing? I'm like, I'm fine. How are you doing? She was like, it's good. She sat down in her little rolly chair, the little black chair that they all sit in. All doctors got that seat. And she sat there and she was like, you tested negative on all of the STDs or anything like that, except for one. And I'm saying, but my heart, my soul just collapsed and dropped, like just collapsed and dropped, right? And so she was like, you have HIV/AIDS, and I was just like, I just bawled. I was like, you know how it was, everybody call it Charlie Brown? I call it Charlie Brown. And it's just like, want after that, crying, woohooing, whatever. And my mom, my mom was like, nah, you ain't got that right. No. She's in denial too. And I'm not hearing anything the doctor says. I'm not, nothing going on. I really don't really care at this point because in my mind, you just gave me a death sentence. So all the way on the way home, I get in the car and I knew of God, right? I didn't have a relationship with him. I knew how to pray. I knew when I was in a bad situation, I knew how to go to. I knew God, because my parents, right? Like my parents, my grandmother, was in prayer. When I tell you, we was in service 7 days a week. I don't care where we was. It wasn't even just in the church building, y'all. It was at somebody's house. It was a shut-in. It was a prayer call. It was everything. It was 7 days a week. Okay. And even the days we didn't go, we was hearing it upstairs because my mom and daddy was praying all the time. So, anyways, I know of God. But then I heard this voice in the back of my mind. It was so clear, so calm, so clear. This is a part of your testimony. This is your journey. Huh? First of all, you can't say stuff like that to me when I'm going through I'm going through mental stuff, I'm going through a mental breakdown, emotional breakdown, everything's just broken, okay? But I hear it and I'm just like, so yeah, those long journeys, that journey of, I would say 10, 11, about 11 years. No, I'm going to add 13. I'm going to say 13. Yeah. About 13 years of shame. 13 years of wearing a jacket of saying, I'm going to eventually die, so let's just live, right? I still didn't really just turn to God like that because I was trying to figure out life. I really didn't have like a big support group. I know I had my mom. I think that's really all that mattered, right? My mom and my dad. Really, that's all that mattered. My parents, it was just hard, and I think I really just went numb after that. So, honestly, even being married, trying to run away from the life because I ended up going into LBGT for that pretty much long time because I was like, I would dare not sleep with another man because that man ruined me, and then I was going through emotions from my biological dad of the whole denial situation, and it was just a lot. Like I was broken, I was through with life. So I was like, I'm through with men. Why? So I ended up, dating women lots. But that doesn't matter. It's just how you dove head first. How about that? And yeah, sorry about that. So I dove head first in those kind of relationships. But hold on a second. All right, my bad. So yeah, I dove head first in that lifestyle because again, like I said, I was running for years. Didn't really care about anybody, their feelings, what they thought, and I lost family members in their relationships. I'm sure I lost relationship with some members of the church and everything. Hey y'all. So I don't know where I ended up yesterday, but I'm sure you'll hear it in the first half of this video. But yeah, I think I ended up pretty much saying um how I dove into the alternative lifestyle and stuff like that. So anyways, I guess with all of that being said, I once I got my life together and once I gave it to God, um, on my own, because you can't go to God on somebody else's coattail. I couldn't go on my mom's, my dad's, any of my parents, nor my husband's prayers. I couldn't go off any of those things. I literally had to come to the realization that I needed God on my own. And in 20, what's this, 2025? Let's see. Uh, Maybe 2021, 2020. No, it wasn't 20 because 2020 I moved out. 2021, 22. 2023. I finally found my way back home. And the ones that were still praying for me are still praying for me. And I finally realized that I needed God, right? And it wasn't just for my health and all that, it was for my life because my life was hell bent, right? It was on its way down the hill, just straight across the board. Um, so yeah, when I gave my life to God, my life consisted of my health. Um, I was going through all these changes and battles and all these things. Um, different doctors, different medications, different all these things. It's just a lot going on within my health. And when I finally gave it to God, when I finally gave my life to God, my health went with it. Though this journey has not ended just yet, you know, because I know healing is a children's bread, right? That's what the word says, and I look up to the Lord for what's coming with my health. There's a lot of scriptures dealing with health. There's a lot of stories in the Bible that can relate to sicknesses. It not, like I said, it's not just HIV. It could be anything. Um, and I always relate it to the woman with the issue of blood, right? That's just where I am. Touching the hem of God's garment and being made whole. Um, but yeah, once I gave it to God, He literally is taking control over it all. I am just obeying the laws of the land, and yet again, my first foremost is trusting God. Because when those results line up with the word of God, I'm gonna be I'm gonna be made whole, right? And even with you, when you're dealing with diabetes or um, cancer or any other ailment that doesn't belong in your body, again, give it to God, because with God all things are possible. God did make man and woman. He designed the body the way he wanted it to be, and he still is, right? Um, we just use these extra things that we kind of put up on ourselves, honestly, right? But he turns it around for our good, and he uses it for our testimony, and that's what I desire to do, and that's what I hope to God that you would do. You would use your story, your journey, to help someone else that is in your shoes, or just starting, or anything. Just knowing that, um, knowing that He's going to get the glory out of all of it. So, with that being said, give God your health, whatever it is, mentally, physically, psychotically, financially, whatever. Give everything to Him. But with this title, give your health to Him. Uh, may not seem common because we so used to taking pills, we're so used to going to doctors, we're so used to doing these things commonly. Um, but if we give it to God, He'll bless us just like He would any other area of our lives. So again, be encouraged. Give your health to God. I'm sweating, y'all. It's hot out here. Um, in the beginning of the video, I was in the house. And now I'm in the car. So, um, but yeah, be encouraged. And I, like I always say, I always end. Come to God, because it's time, kind of way past time, to be honest. And coming to God is going to be the best thing that you've ever done in your entire life. I wouldn't tell you something that I'm not doing, is I'm doing it on a daily basis. So again, come to God, the best choice you'll make. And I pray that you have a fantastic weekend. And I'll talk to you guys later.